somersault. He can't be said to be cocky, of course, but he suggests cockiness and pretension. He's all show and no row. She doesn't move. Her size and weight are not at first especially employed. Yet here's the message she sends up the line. If this isn't bedrock, you'd be better off if it were. If you're in a hurry, get out your scissors. She stays low and holds, and soon you are sure about the weight and the sex. Now, straight across the river and away deep, she strips line, your reel drag clicking. She turns and moves back, an arcuate run. You're supposed to keep things taut, but often she'll do it for you. When, rising, she rolls near the surface, she looks even larger than she is. She, too, can leap, can do a front flip, but she obviously knows that her shrewdest position is broadside to full current. It's as difficult to move her as it would be to reel in a boat sideways. Like salmon, shad return to their natal rivers and eat nothing on the spawning run. Like salmon swimming 2,000 miles up the Yukon River, migrating shad exist on their own fat. So why do shad and salmon respond to lures? Up and down the river, almost everybody has an answer to that fundamental question, but no one, bartender or biologist, really knows. A plurality will tell you that the fish are expressing irritation. Flutter something colorful in their faces, and shad will either ignore it completely or snap at it like pit bulls. More precisely, they'll swing their heads, as swordfish do, to bat an irritant aside. They don't swallow, since they're not eating. Essentially never does a hook reach the gills or even much inside the mouth. You hook them in the mouth's outer rim, in the premaxillary and maxillary bones, and sometimes in the ethmoid region at the tip of the snout, all of which are segments of the large, open scoop that plows through plankton at sea. Below the Lambertville New Hope Bridge that evening, I was using a shad dart of my own making. A small metallic cone, it trailed bucktail tied on in a vise. Its body was chartreuse, its base was dark green. It was coated with clear gloss. Extending with the bucktail from the tip of the cone, its number 2 hook was black and chemically sharpened. Because the hook shaft includes a right angle and the eye emerges from the side of the cone, a shad dart is hydrodynamically hapless. It flips and flops and buzzes around like a fly that needs killing. If it snags, you're likely to lose it. Snags happen often. Held in the water column by the driving current, my dart was out about 70 feet. 3 of us were in the boat, close and tandem. I was in the middle, fishing over the shoulder of the skipper, Ed Cervone. Fishing over my shoulder was Ed's son, Edmund Cervone. Each of them had caught several shad, varying in sex, notable in size. I had caught 2 roe shad. The sun was setting. It was 7:30. Quitting time was upon us, but the rod in my hand was suddenly pulled by a great deal more than the current. The Cervones reeled in their darts and stowed their rods. They would wait and watch, as people do when someone else in a boat has a fish on the line. It felt heavy. It maintained for some time a severe tug without much lateral movement. "Female," I said, 6 pounds. Cervone the elder, who has a doctorate in psychology, seemed unimpressed, seemed to be suggesting through a light shrug that he knew bullshit by its cover. He knew he wasn't fishing with Buddy Grusella. He knew he wasn't fishing with Irwin Dietz or Gerald Hartzell, living figures in the Cooperstown of shad. He knew that in my 7 years as a shad fisherman I had risen steadily into a zone of terminal mediocrity, and he was well equipped to empathize. Ours was one of 12 boats below and around the western bridge piers. Nearly all the others had been doing well, too. When that fish of mine came on the line toward the end of the day, a guy in the boat next to us looked over and said, "It doesn't get any better than this, does it?" At that moment, 30 feet of line came off the reel against the drag. I thought the line would snap. Dietz and Hartzell are waders, bank fishermen, and you'd usually encounter them far upriver, at least 300 miles above the Seaboy, where the Delaware is narrow, is punctuated with riffles and rapids, and has cut a deep gorge in the Pocono-Catskill Plateau. The night air, cooler than the water, makes a thick, early mist there. If you wanted to fish near a monumental figure like Dietz, and possibly be there ahead of him, you had to be on the river before dawn. As the light came up, it revealed a dark silhouette in the drifting vapors, standing on a rock, catching fish. He always knew how many. "How many's that?" 11. I could fish near him until the sun was high, doing everything he did, and catch nothing, or 1 or 2. Nearing retirement, he was a mason then in New York City construction. He lived in Queens. Somewhere in my fishing diaries I wrote, "He recovers his dart and casts anew faster than anyone I've ever seen. He brings fish in rapidly and swiftly releases them. Then his dart is in the air. He is very sensitive on the jig, his rod tip high, his twitch minimal. While I am fishless, Dietz's rod is electric with excitement. 2, 3, 4. He works fish. I watch. And watch. He loses a dart to a snag. Cool, he's idle, out of it. I'm casting. 2, 3, 4. The numbers refer to casts, but not to shad. At last he finishes tying on a new dart, and he flings it into the river. It swings through the current, and his rod is bent by another fish. How does he do it? After he casts, he holds his rod at a 45-degree angle. His wrist flicks almost imperceptibly at a consistent rate of about once a second. He says he can feel the shad bump the dart in the center of the current, bump it again, and then go for it. His line and his lures are identical with mine. I imitate him as precisely as I can. He hooks fish. I hook water. As Gerald Hartzell stepped into the upper river at 5:30 of a June morning, after driving more than 3 hours, his shad net would be holstered on his back so that its hoop rose above his head like a circular antenna. He reached for it often. He used a 5.5-foot rod with 4-pound line and an ultralight reel. He had a long wooden staff that floated on a tether beside him. He was slim, 6 feet, Polaroid glasses. On his brown hat were 2 fishing licenses. Sewn on both his hat and his vest was the orange and green emblem of the Delaware River Shad Fishermen's Association. He cast with a short, direct punch from eye level, as if he were throwing a dart not so much at a fish as at a tavern wall. As one such morning began, he caught a shad, and then another, but not rapidly, and he seemed puzzled. Then, arms up, he began to hold the rod high before him, as if he were reaching for a shelf, and in quick succession he flipped up the tip, up again, up once more, fish on the line. Rooted in fast water, apparently tireless, he caught shad after shad after shad, always with his arms extended high. His darts were very small. Across the morning they were in the water an amazing percentage of the total time. He was efficient in the rhythm of his casts. Page 1, line 1. If your dart is not in the water, you are not catching fish. Jigging, twitching the line, he gave complete attention to each moment of every swing, his eyes swinging too like a long ball hitter's. After fishing downstream from him, I quit when he did. In 4.5 hours I had caught 6 shad, including 1 roe that I kept. In the 4.5 hours he had landed 21 shad. Wearily rubbing a shoulder, he said, "Did you see what I had to do?" Hartzell had been shad fishing more than 30 years. He spoke of 50 shad days. Since page 1, line 2 of this enterprise is "position counts," that is, a person in the right place can bring fish in steadily while a neighboring line is scoreless, I said as he was leaving that I thought I would fish a while just where he had.